TNA Wrestling crosses the line again with another action-packed episode of Impact Wrestling, the go home to Against All Odds, which, according to my watch, will be in a few hours' time. Yes, it will be live Against All Odds tonight on Thriller TV over here in the UK, TNA Plus app as well. Do not forget to get on that. It's going to be an eventful show. Will the portals cross again? We will get into that in a bit more detail. But on tap this week, in a crazy, wild brawl, we will see the System enter the Hardy compound. Yep, the Hardy compound. And that is going to be wild. We'll get into that very, very, very shortly as Impact rolls on. But Impact did start with Santana against Zachary Wentz. Now, if you remember, the last few weeks, the Rascals have taken issue with Mike Santana and with Macklin, which is setting up a tag team match for Against All Odds tonight. Matt Santana and Zachary really had a great opener again, and they're very, very different, and they're also quite similar. You know, Santana, the striking, the big power moves, Zachary, the speed and the agility, and it does make for good matches. And with these two can certainly go in the ring as well. Trey Miguel was interfering as well at some point some points during the matches. But there was also the one point when they did try, when Miguel did try and interfere later on, Macklin come round and then really spin the block from Santana, picks up the victory. At this point, they did have a stare down, did Santana and Macklin, but both have the same common enemy tonight Against All Odds. That enemy being the Rascals. Will Santana and Macklin coexist tonight? Can they coexist for one night only? As they say, one night only. We'll have to see, find out tonight. A very exciting match on the cards for sure tonight Against All Odds. Mustafa Ali was next. He had a sit-down interview with Hanifan. Tom Hanifan's definitely one of the best announcers, still one of the best play-by-play announcers in the business. He tries to he's pretty much doing what we're seeing from the politicians here in the UK, and answering questions without answering questions, and really trying to skate around the answer without actually giving one, which is exactly what Ali was doing here when pressed about some questions about losing and some questions about him cheating. And there were some tough questions being asked about Speedball Bailey and Trent. Now, obviously, the story being is that with some help, Ali did beat Speedball Mike Bailey, but Against All Odds tonight, he goes one-on-one with 7 Trent 7 for the X Division Championship. And at one point of this, Hanifan was really grilling him, and of course, Champagne C said, "That's it. We're past the interview time. That's done." And it was quite interesting with that because, again, getting into Ali's head about not being able to get the job done, about you can only win by cheating. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with this, and more importantly, whether or not Trent Seven can dethrone Mustafa Ali as champion. Well, we will have to find out. And again, in a good few hours' time, we will find out if that indeed is the case. It'll be an exciting match for sure on this. Now, there was a little bit where the System were talking about the Hardy compound. Slamovich did approach Alicia Edwards, and they didn't want to talk at that point because they were too busy talking about, the how bad things are going to happen over at the Hardy compound. And the Hex did have words with Slamovich to end the segment, which sets up Marty Bell and Masha Slamovich in the impact zone. They were yelling all over the place to start this match. And it was a decent match actually on here. And Marty Bell does pick up the victory against Masha Slamovich. Interesting to see with the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, will they still be on their hands come Against All Odds? We'll have to wait and see. It was like a slam. It was like a roll up with Kay leaning on the ropes for help at ringside, and the referee doesn't see it. That old chestnut, as we like to say here in the UK. But it does put an interesting viewing up coming up for the Against All Odds Knockouts Tag titles. Now, something that has been happening over the last few weeks on Impact has been the PCO Steph DeLander love interest. As you remember, PCO gave Steph DeLander a rose. He's been asking Steph DeLander. I'm pretty sure he wants a date or something with her. Now, Steph DeLander was due to give her answer on Impact, but now she's going to give him the response at Against All Odds later on this evening, whether or not there is going to be any love in the air between DeLander and PCO. Now, however, First Class walk loudly past Steph DeLander, as they do, as Steph's at the back. And PCO is shown in the background. Now, they do break to a commercial at that, but when they come back, Gia Miller is at the ramp with First Class. And he was talking about how AJ Francis defeated Laredo Kid last week to become the digital media champion. And they were talking about Swan's involvement and asking if it taints the victory. And then Miller brings up a rose to Francis, who's holding his hand, claiming it's from a fellow admirer backstage. Now, with that, the lights go out. Now, when the lights come back on, standing right behind AJ Francis is PCO, and he literally knocks him out with a punch on the rampway. Rich Swann tried to interfere and attack PCO from behind, but PCO no sold it and absolutely demolished Rich Swann. Security does come and break it up, and PCO then picks up the rose that AJ Francis has dropped. And they point out that was obviously for DeLander as well on backstage. Sorry, the commentary book backstage. A remind us that DeLander will give the answer to PCO Against All Odds in just a few short hours' time. Again, Thriller TV, TNA Plus app. Get watching it tonight for sure. Can't wait to be reviewing that tomorrow morning. An early start on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. SmackDown Lowdown Against All Odds. Reviews first thing Saturday morning. What better way to spend your weekend than with us at the Hitting the Turnbuckle? That's for sure. Danny Luna and Tasha Steelz were next. And now Tasha Steelz did beat Danny Luna's partner, Jody Fret, a few weeks ago. And they are obviously with Lars Fredrickson as well. I mean, these two go straight at it, straight away. No messing around. They are going crazy at ringside. They're hitting each other. This was a hard hitting match, at any level. These two girls were going at it big time, which is great. And I love to see Danny Luna every single week now. And you can see it, the improvement, the ring reveal, the fact that she's settling into her home very nicely. She's also booked now on shows in America going forward. Danny Luna is looking like the next big breakout from the UK to the States. And just quickly, as we talk about women in the UK scene, just want to send a well wishes out to Alexis Falcon, who done a really nasty shoulder injury. We hope you get better soon, Alexis. If you want to buy any Alexis merchandise, please do go to the Big Cartel, Alexis Falcon, and you can get some merchandise while she's healing up a very serious shoulder injury. Anyway, back to this match. Danny Luna picks up the victory with her third attempt at the Luna landing. She hits it for the victory. Danny Luna goes on and is victorious and really kind of redeems Jody Fret for the loss at Tasha Steelz. But Tasha Steelz is someone else who is very, very good as well. And again, this is the strong knockouts division. There is a lot of strong women's divisions out there in wrestling at the moment, and we're seeing it now more prevalent than ever, and more power to them for that. Really, really good to see some strong women's division in wrestling right now across the board. In a quite interesting twist now, say his name here appears, Joe Hendry, of course, that being. He was saying that these last few weeks have taught him a lot, but he's still got a thing or two to learn. And with that, brings out Ace Steel. Yes, Ace Steel, controversy before elsewhere, but he comes in touting the skills of Hendry, but not everyone is happy with this news. That being the aforementioned Kaz, or Frankie Kazarian, who's not been happy with anything really for the last month or two on Impact Wrestling, that's for sure. And he takes exception to Ace Steel, thinking he has what it takes to teach Henry how to be a top guy. He says kings are not taught, they're born. It's quite a good saying, to be fair. But Steel says in his hometown of Chicago, Joe Hendry will take on Kazarian. And Kaz says, if you're going to hit the king, you better kill the king. And Joe Hendry and Kaz is official for Against All Odds. But Ace Steel in TNA wrestling, what does that hold for Joe Hendry? Is that the piece of the missing puzzle that is going to cement Joe Hendry up a level and ready to challenge what titles? Again, it was digital media champion, of course, but exiting world champion with Ace still at his side. Who knows what's going to happen? The Hardy compound I mean, anything with the Hardy compound is absolutely crazy. It didn't disappoint. It was mental, absolutely mental. I don't know any other word to describe. Anytime the Hardy compound is used, it is crazy. It is nuts. It is all over the place. The lake of relevancy, the fireworks, the piano, and Christ Almighty, everything else. Tweakers in the party room, and oh my god, it was I don't quite know. There was a bit where someone says Myers was in there, and he's like, "He'll always be Edge's bitch," and oh my god, it is it. I don't really know what to say about it, but I will say this: there was a bit outside, and they showed a picture of a wall. So they were fighting outside. There was a wall, and on the wall was a picture of Willow. Willow being an alter ego of Jeff Hardy. Now, for those of you that don't know, as of today, Jeff Hardy is a free agent. There is no compete clause. Big rumors that Jeff Hardy will be rejoining TNA Wrestling as early as tonight Against All Odds. Potentially the return to TNA Wrestling of Jeff Hardy, Jeffrey Nero Hardy, Willow, who knows? That would be a big get for TNA. We know Jeff's had problems. We know the run at AEW didn't quite work out. But TNA and Jeff Hardy could be about to come together again in what would be a great return. If it happens, we will find out tonight Against All Odds, Thriller TV and TNA Plus. Going back to this, I mean, Hardy's kids get involved in this. There is just crazy. Moose gets thrown into the I think it's the Lake of Reddish, the Lake of Reincarnation or something along those lines, and he comes back up, and he's now a football player again. And there was Senior Benjamin was back in the Hardy car. It was all shades of nuts, and then quite amazing. He goes to tackle him, but the drone appears. Hardy attacks the drone, and they're back at the and then but that's it. They're back at the entrance gate, and I don't quite know what, but no one he won. It was just a system moved out of the gate, and that was it. The drone made the system disappear and through the gate, which was quite incredible and crazy and all sorts of nuttiness. Once you've had the chance to process all of that, we go to Ash by Elegance and Jada. So Ash by Elegance again was a one that appeared at NXT Battleground, a surprise at the end of Jordynne Grace's match with Roxanne Perez. We saw Taxon Paisley try to take the Knockouts Championship. Ash by Elegance decked her. Jordynne Grace decked them both, and then coincidentally then lost the match against Roxanne Perez. But a great showing. More about Jordynne Grace in a bit. But yeah, Ash by Elegance was against Jada Stone. Interestingly enough, though, I mean, this is again more about what goes on behind, and in the rafters was Rosemary, and whatever goes on there, I don't quite know. But anyway, another victory by Ash by Elegance. She hits Ratified Air for the pinfall, and carries on really only one or two defeats. And she's in with a shout. I mean, look, we know Jordynne Grace has a knockout, an open challenge for the Knockouts Championship, We'll get onto that in a minute. But could Ash by Elegance take an opportunity for the Knockouts Championship? We'll find out in a few hours. I keep saying those words, a few hours, but that's all we've got until Against All Odds tonight. Jonathan Gresham is next. Now he takes on Sami Callihan. He starts off in an eerie. It was like he was at the Hardy compound. Um, and he briefly sends a thumbs up, thumbs down message, and that was simple as that. Boom, boom. Sami Callihan. It's a lot of what Sami Callihan does as well. So that match Against All Odds should be interesting with the new character aggression. Sami Callihan's the death machine for a reason, right? So very interesting to see where they go with this one. I'm kind of interested to see who wins that. I would assume Gresham would win it because the character's relatively new and we're getting used to this black poison and what knows else. But yeah, I'm interested to see about that one. But it should be a great, great match on a card full of great matches. Now, Jordynne Grace, fresh off her unlucky match at Battleground, she was come up a bit short. We mentioned Taxon Paisley and Ash by Elegance getting involved in that. She's obviously issued an open challenge for Against All Odds, and she has said MLW, Triple R, Stardom, WWE, or the independent scene, any one of you will come on down to Against All Odds and take on the juggernaut herself. And she said that she's going to retain the title. We will see about that. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Taxon Paisley? Is it going to be Ash? Is it going to be someone that we don't know? Is it even someone like Natalia, who I put on, who I've said about? But interestingly enough, there has been talk in the world of wrestling now that we're going to be seeing quite a bit more of this. Now, next week on NXT, there is a 25-man over-the-top battle royal for the #1 contendership for Trick Williams's NXT championship. And Cody Rhodes, who was there, said some of the people will be from this locker room and some people will be from other locker rooms. Now, that is really interesting. Are we going to see more TNA stars on NXT next week in the #1 contendership match for Trick Williams? Ethan Page. I mean, Ethan Page is on WWE now. Sorry, he had the title match of the weekend. Sorry, but is Ethan Page going to be there? Are we going to see people like Sami Callihan? Are we going to see Joe Hendry? This whole stuff with the WWE and what they're doing with TNA and with others. TNA have World's End where they go again, not World's End, something like that. Anyway, I'm sure it's World's End actually, where they could be AEW. Anyway, they have a pay-per-view where they normally go against the Japanese, a bit like AEW and Forbidden Door. Are we going to see a WWE TNA version of that? And who's going to show up on the Impact Zone next? This is so exciting right now to be a fan of wrestling with all of this stuff going on. It is so, so good. And I can't wait. And it's really, for us fans, it's great. And even I think for wrestling now, it really rejuvenates some people that, you know what, someone great like Natalia, who actually follows us on X now. Thanks, Natty, for that. But someone like Natty, who you think of matches that perhaps that she hasn't had, Giselle Shaw, people like that. Danny Luna against Natty Neihart. Who wouldn't want to see that? And it's now a massive possibility because it is now about opening a door, going through a portal, whatever you want to call it. Crossovers in wrestling are happening. And to tell you what benefits, wrestling benefits from the crossover. And I can't wait to see who does the challenge, who from TNA, if anyone, will be at NXT this week, who from NXT could be at the Impact Zone. Who knows? It's going to be crazy. Cannot wait to see it. And we will find out what happens in just a few short hours' time. Main event time on TNA Impact. What a main event this is. Bullet Club ABC, are they back together? Are they on the same page? Well, they're about to go against the Nemeth brothers, Nick and Ryan, ahead of their match with obviously the System at the weekend. In just a few short hours for the tag team titles. Interesting with this one because this was a great tag team main event, by the way, before we get into it. Absolutely brilliant. This was so good. These four guys, singly tag teams, I don't care. They are so, so good. And it's just, I don't know. The main event was just brilliant. I can't describe it. There was, super kicks. There was picture perfect moves in this. You got to go and watch it. Honestly, just go and watch this match. It is so, so good. What tag team wrestling should be like. ABC and the Nemeth brothers absolutely delivered on this, and it was the Nemeth brothers that picked up. They got the Bullet Club ABC go for the 1-2 sweep. Ryan Nemeth holds Ace Austin's foot, and then they don't gets Nick Nemeth hits the danger zone for the victory, and they will head into Against All Odds against the System for the tag team titles. Do not forget, Against All Odds is tonight. Thriller TV, TNA Plus app tonight. It is going to be a fantastic show for sure. TNA always deliver. Are we going to see some surprises? What surprises are we going to see? I mean, Ace still, is there in TNA. Are we going to see anyone else from the W? Are we going to see people from WWE turn up? Are we going to see what? The card for Against All Odds, Moose against Matt Hardy. Is Jeff going to come out? Are we going to see Jeff Hardy back in the Impact Zone or back with TNA? Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, the System versus the Nemeth brothers for the Tag Championships. Mustafa Ali and Trent Seven for the X Division Championship. Jordynne Grace in an open challenge match. Eric Young and Josh Alexander versus Bullet Club ABC. Are we going to get a win for ABC, or will Bullet Club ABC implode Against All Odds? We'll find out. The Rascals, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz going against Macklin and Santana. And on the countdown to Against All Odds, Sammy Callahan one-on-one with Jonathan Gresham. This is going to be a great match in Chicago, a great card. Sold out tonight as well in Chicago. Great news for TNA that it's selling out, proving once again why TNA has been probably the promotion, I would say, the sort of comeback promotion of the year over the last 12 to 18 months. Watch it tonight, Fuller TV, TNA Plus app. We'll be back reviewing it early tomorrow morning. So wake up with your breakfast and watch us review Against All Odds. And until then, everybody, you have been watching the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Hit us up on Twitter at HTT Buckle. Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on all social media platforms. Until tomorrow, everybody, buckle down and stay safe.